Hi, this is Christina Danforth with HR Jetpack, and today I'll be giving you a tour of the 2025 SHRM Learning System. If you decide to enroll in HR Jetpack's SHRM certification exam, open prep program, the 2025 SHRM Learning System is included. To learn more about enrollment, go to hrjetpack.com. Once you enroll, you will receive an email inviting you to initiate your 2025 SHRM Learning System account. Watch the welcome video and answer all of the questions in the survey. Once you finish the survey, you're given the option to take 4 pre-tests. 1 for the competencies, 1 for the people knowledge domain, 1 for the organization knowledge domain, and 1 for the workplace knowledge domain. Now, it's extremely important to complete all 4 of these pre-tests before you begin your studies. The pre-tests identify your strengths and, more importantly, your areas of need. This is critical so you know which areas to spend more time on while you prepare for your exam. But before you begin your first pre-test, take these 2 simple steps. Notice the menu in the upper right-hand corner. It's easy to miss if you don't know it's there. The menu has a lot of important resources, but for now, I just want you to focus on the settings. Hover over the menu, click the button with the 2 cog icons. This brings you to your settings. Most people don't realize when you receive the SHRM Learning System, you're receiving 2 versions, not just 1. When you switch between the SHRM-CP to SHRM-SCP levels, you get all new practice questions. This means you can double the amount of practice that you get just by switching back and forth between these 2 levels. The first step I want you to take, if you haven't already, is select the certification level you are planning to study for. And at first, it's okay if you don't know which certification you're going to test for. Just pick the side you're leaning towards. You could easily switch back and forth. I'm going to choose the CP level. If you're ever unsure which level you are on, you can come back to the settings or simply look at the footer of the page. Since I chose SHRM-CP, it shows as SHRM-CP. If I switch to SHRM-SCP, it now shows as SHRM-SCP. Let's switch back to SHRM-CP. So for those of you that have decided that, yes, I'm going to go for my SHRM-CP, you're probably going to spend the majority of your study time on this level. However, I encourage you to use both levels of the system, especially if you're unsure which exam you're going to sit for. Just spend a little bit of time checking out each level to see the differences and the level of difficulty. The more practice you can get responding to multiple choice questions, the better you will get at knowing how best to respond. And if you use both levels, there's over 2,700 questions in this entire system. That's a lot of practice. Okay, on a side note, if you are in the middle of a quiz or a pre-test, you can't switch levels. You first need to come out of the quiz and then switch the level. The second step I want you to take before starting your first pretest is setting your exam date if you haven't already. The system will give you a countdown, so you can track how many days you have left until your exam. If you don't have a date yet, just check Hide Exam Countdown checkbox. That way, you don't get distracted by an inaccurate countdown. Under Settings, I also want to bring your attention to the Always Continue Where You Left Off feature. You can select yes or no. The Return to Where You Left Off feature can be permanently toggled on, so you always return to your last stop upon login or off. It's your choice. You can always change this option within your settings. Let's go back to the pretests. The purpose of these tests is to create a baseline of your strengths and opportunities for development in relation to all the topics in the SHRM BASK. And we all have strengths and we all have opportunities for development. And the information that comes out of the pretest is going to help you understand that. This will help you build a study plan and guide you throughout the program. The second main reason to take the pre-tests is to start building your stamina. I highly recommend taking them in one sitting. The system doesn't force you to finish the pre-tests all at once. You can come and go. But don't delay taking it if you don't have the time to finish all the questions. Just start and come back to them if needed. The most important thing is that you get it done. After you complete a pretest, the system will show you that you completed it. I'm going to quickly complete one of the pretests now to show you what happens. Now that a pretest is complete, let's take a look at what happened in the system. Notice the topics from competencies that have now been placed into My Study Plan automatically on the next page. And for those topics in which you need the most help, an exclamation point will be visible. Let's take a closer look at My Study Plan. First, at the top, because I've only taken one pretest, My Study Plan reminds me to take the other pretests. When you take all 4 pretests, that card will go away. This is the order of the topics according to how you did on the pretests. Notice the exclamation points. They identify your opportunities for development or an area of need in relation to the SHRM BASK. You'll want to spend more time focusing on these topics. And notice, you will not find any scores or be able to review the questions. Remember, the purpose of these pretests is to give you a baseline. They're not meant to be retaken. You'll be prompted to experience the SHRM BASK. Here, you can watch a video, interact with the SHRM BASK, and finally, download the entire document for your reference. Don't skip this. It's very important for you to review and understand the foundation of the certification exams, the SHRM body of applied skill and knowledge. In this section of the online learning system, you can review all the proficiency indicators, which are very important. They convey the level of proficiency or expertise that you need to be able to demonstrate in order to pass the exam as an HR professional. And you're going to learn more about that as you dig deeper and go further into your certification journey. It may make sense to follow the study plan mapped out here as it addresses your areas of need first. However, most of you will likely want to go through the materials in order of the SHRM BASK. This is also the order of the topics in the books and most likely the order your instructor will review the content. The best aspect of this is seeing the exclamation points. These mark your areas of need. More about this in a moment. Note, what appears in My Study Plan may vary depending on what cards you've added or taken away when you begin the program. Over here on the left-hand side is the Learning System Navigator. This navigator offers a way to view your progress within the system, indicating completed areas of reading and quizzes. Each element is linked directly, creating a clickable map to navigate the learning system. Underneath are the areas of review. These are all the topics of the SHRM BASK organized by competencies, people, organization, and workplace. By the way, on a side note, the competencies are very important. They are mentioned throughout the content. 50% of the questions on the exam are on the competencies. The very first topic is leadership and navigation. Pay attention to any card marked with an exclamation point. They have been identified as a gap in your knowledge. You'll want to spend more time reviewing those materials. These exclamation points will allow you to be more efficient with your time. You can spend less time studying the topics you are already proficient in and more time in unfamiliar topics. You can add that topic to your study plan, if it isn't there already, by selecting this little plus sign right here in the upper right-hand corner of each card. But for most of you, if you're following the order of the topics, you won't need to use this feature. When you select Begin for a topic, you're brought to a card like this. Each card has a description, content options with an approximate time to complete, a link to a quiz with practice questions, and flashcards. Now, a question that I'm often asked is, Christina, there's 2,700 plus multiple choice questions in the learning system. Where are they? Where are these quizzes that I keep hearing about? Well, this is where they are. Each panel has a quiz icon. Simply click on it and follow the cues. You'll want to respond to all of these quiz questions located throughout the system. You can check your progress in the menu under My Quiz Scores. Your goal is to reach 80%. And you'll notice this little line right here. This is an 80% indicator. When you start hitting that 80% proficiency level, that's essentially what it is. It's a proficiency level. It's an indication that you're in a pretty good place to take the actual exam. So keep your eye on your progress as you're working your way through the material. You don't need to be perfect, just proficient. And the flashcards. That's another common question that we get asked. Where do I find the flashcards in the system? The flashcards are also located throughout the system, just like the quizzes. You can find them under every single card, like the quizzes. These flashcards are dynamic, meaning you can use them in your browser. Another option is to use the printable version. You can find them in Additional Resources in the top menu under Other Study Tools. Like everything else, they are organized just like your books. You can also find them in the study plan page at the bottom down here under Tools for Success. Go to Additional Resources. It brings you to the same page as in the top menu. Also, we have students who like to view the flashcards in a list form. You have that option by going to the glossary in the menu. You can either search for a term or click on a letter. Personally, I think it's best to create the flashcards yourself. Every time you come across a term, write or type the definition in your own words. Many of our students swear by this technique and have found it to be an extremely effective way to promote active recall. Let's take another look at Tools for Success. You'll find Experience the SHRM BASK again, the practice exam, exam day tools, additional resources, and the Certificate of Achievement. Under Exam Day Tools, you'll find an exam tutorial, which provides a tutorial on exam navigation functions like the highlight feature and the strikeout feature, both of which you may use on exam day. I highly recommend taking this tutorial so you'll become familiar with the exam layout. You'll also find test-taking tips and a digital copy of the ACE Your SHRM Certification Exam Book. Let's go back to Tools for Success. Here's another very common question. Where can I find the digital version of the books? Let's visit Additional Resources. Select Other Study Tools. You may remember this is where you can find the printable flashcards. It's also where you can download the digital version of the books. Go to Downloadable EPUBs. If you agree with the terms and conditions after reading the terms and conditions, select the I have read and agree to these terms button, and now you can easily download any of the 4 books in the EPUB format. Under Additional Resources, you'll also find updates to the Learning System and certification resources. Here, you'll find the Certification Handbook. If you have any questions about the exam, it's very likely you will find your answer in the SHRM Certification Handbook. It has everything you need from a logistics perspective. You can download it in PDF form here. Finally, you can access additional training videos here with tips and tricks. And remember, the additional resources I've just reviewed are located in the top menu. If you have any technical issues, you can click Help. And if you ever get lost and need to get back to the study plan page, click the Home button. Now, before we go on to the practice exam, I want to point out the Certificate of Achievement. You just need to confirm you've done the work and you can print off a certificate. This is especially important if your awesome employer is paying for this overall process for you. You can present this to them and show them that you have gone through all of this material and done all this great work in order to prepare for your exam day. Let's visit the practice exam. This is the most underrated part of the SHRM learning system. It's extremely important for you to take this practice exam. This practice exam is the closest experience to the real exam as you can get. It has retired questions from the actual exam. And just like the real exam, there are no rationales. You will not be able to see what questions were marked right or wrong. You should take this practice exam as if you are taking the real thing. Schedule just under 4 hours, enclose yourself in a room without your books, and simulate the real exam as much as possible. If you're going to take the real exam in person, pretend you're at a Prometric facility. Now, you're able to take each of the pretests and the practice exams twice, once for the SHRM-CP level and once for the SHRM-SCP level. The more practice, the better, no matter which exam you're sitting for. I know this is a huge amount of information. You're not expected to remember all of this right now. Just know you can come back to this video at any time. This video also has chapters, so you can easily find what you're looking for. One last bonus recommendation. This program is very flexible, so you can approach it in many different ways. If you don't already have a strategy, here is my recommendation for you. Take a topic, like leadership and navigation, for example. Read that topic in your textbook. Then review the information in a live instructor-led session or in the self-paced course. Then come here into the SHRM Learning System and go through the related material and respond to all of the quiz questions. Then repeat for the next topic. It's what I call the 4 R's. Read, review, respond, and repeat. So this concludes our tour of the 2025 SHRM Learning System. This is Christina Danforth with HR Jetpack, and I hope you found this helpful. If you decide to embark on your SHRM certification exam journey, visit us at hrjetpack.com and remember to tell yourself, I will pass my SHRM certification exam.